So one thing I'm really, always looking to myself, is there anything I can control with him? Okay, I can control, be honest and be kind, and just at least be honest to ourselves, and don't take yourself too serious. Once you are successful, and one thing I want to make sure is that I will always keep my feet on the ground.
Thank you for joining in on tonight's PDF webinar, How Monica Found Her Niche and Built an Empire. I'm Annie, and I'll be the moderator for tonight's session. Before we start, just a quick introduction to the Professional Development Forum, PDF. PDF was established to help diverse young professionals reach their full potential in the modern workplace. We believe that everyone, not just the elite few, should have access to knowledge, mindset, and networks to develop themselves. We believe that by becoming the best versions of ourselves, we lead a happier, more fulfilling life and inspire those around us to do the same. We do this by running events that aim to inform, connect, and inspire and share what we learned with our community. Now, just a few housekeeping rules. We encourage everyone to please turn on your webcams so that we can better connect with each other. Please also feel free to leave your LinkedIn details in the chat box so that you can add each other after the webinar. If you have any questions at any time throughout the session or would like to comment on anything that was said, then please feel free to type them into the chat box. You will be invited to ask your questions in the Q&A session. Please also note that this session is being recorded, so it may be shared on social media. Before I introduce our special guest speaker, Monica, I would like to firstly play a short video.
The best is yet to come. I'm Monica Tu. I'm the founder and director of Black Diamonds Property Concierge.
Monica Tu's company, Black Diamonds, is all about luxury.
Selling Homes Australia the Chinese way. And no one sells it better than Monica Tu.
Well, it's been a huge year for Australia's real estate market,
with sweeping views of Sydney Harbour and a $22.6 million price tag. Sold by Monica Tu, one of Sydney's top agents, she's an expert in selling plush pads and knows exactly what her target market wants.
It's extraordinary. It's very beautiful.
real estate broker to the super rich, to Chinese billionaires.
Monica Tu is the $200 million woman.
Monica Tu is the go-to agent for Chinese millionaires.
So I am a real estate agent, but I am also a businesswoman.
Luxury is your last name.
Calling Chinese-born Monica Tu just another realtor is like saying Michael Jordan was just another basketball player.
Just how many properties did you sell last year?
A lot.
How many billionaires are here tonight?
A lot.
Well, this lady has probably the most stellar list of clients of any real estate agent in the world.
I'm a huge admirer of Monica. I feel that she has the same passion for luxury as we have at Vogue Australia.
It's really celebrating Monica and everything that she's done in the development of her business, brand. There really is a new player in the market here.
This high-flying businesswoman calls herself a property concierge.
Why our buyers come to here, first of all, is a lifestyle. I think our culture is really true. We go to inquiry through the weekend on Saturday, to show them on Sunday, exchange the contract on Tuesday.
Expensive house that you have sold.
$39.9 million. The buyer doesn't like all. You can call that a dream. So everybody have a dream, and Chinese dream have an amazing Australian lifestyle.
Monica Tu for Black Diamonds is the brainchild behind this extravagant event.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome Black Diamonds Chinese New Year celebration.
Founder and director of Black Diamonds Property Concierge, Monica Tu.
Tonight we are very lucky to have Monica Tu join us. In the early 1980s, Monica came to Australia with no money, no contacts, and no English. Now, as the founder and director of the Black Diamonds Group, she's a multi-award winning entrepreneur, and it has been said Sydney's #1 real estate agent for luxury properties. Monica sold the most expensive Australian property for 2019 coming in at a cool of $22.6 million. She is brand ambassador for BMW Sydney, the Museum of Contemporary Art and Fashions of Multicultural Australia. She was a finalist for the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award 2018 and CEO Magazine's CEO of the Year Award in 2019. A committed philanthropist, Monica is a founding patron of the Global Women's Leaders for the International Committee of the Red Cross and an ambassador for the Children's Cancer Institute's CEO Dare to Cure fundraising event. Monica's ability to network, connect, and deliver over and above her competition has seen her rise to the very top of an extremely competitive industry. Her multicultural insight and innovative approach make her one of the leading experts on luxury real estate, luxury lifestyle, and high net worth individuals. She regularly hosts events for the world's leading luxury brands and is a regular contributor for numerous media outlets. As a powerful leader who has seen a dramatic change in the business landscape since first venturing into it in the 1980s, the world of luxury real estate and entrepreneurial business is something Monica is incredibly passionate about, and we are delighted to be hearing the invaluable insights from her here tonight. Thank you, Monica, for being here with us tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you be with us. To kickstart the conversation, I'll be asking you a few questions and then open to the audience for any questions.
Sure, no problem.
So to start off, can you tell us what it was like to arrive in Australia in the 80s with no English and no money?
Yeah, I think it's definitely different from what I just watched, on my video. I was actually quite impressed. So I came to Australia in 1988. And so, the interesting things, people think, oh my God, look at today, right? On the back end, you must be like coming from a wealthy family, or you come have, a very full pocket. So when I come to Melbourne in 1980s, I couldn't even speak a word of English and I got no money at all. So I came as a really poor student. And the world was very different then. Now you walk in the street, it's a whole lot of Chinese and, dressing beautifully and driving beautiful cars and, speak perfect English. But the 1980s was really tough. So I came as a poor student and studied English. And also a year later, I worked like 7 days a week, right? So from the, selling cosmetics to restaurants and, and the rest. So for people who want to know how, I was like 26 years of age at the time. And people must be thinking is like, I came, this is a bit of story about me, which I really, actually I'm very happy about that. When I was in China, I was actually working for a government. And my major was in German. So I had a really, really good job back in China. But when I come to Australia, I couldn't believe so why I end up being here, right? So no English, no other skills. And, I started working in the restaurants. I think that was pretty impressive then. Yeah, that's, that was in the 1980s.
And can you tell us a bit about how you grew a store in the Paddy's Market into Laser Corporation?
So, I built about 32 years of my time. I built 2 enterprises. And the first company I had is called Laser Corporation now. So in 1992, I finished my years in Melbourne and I came to Sydney and I couldn't find a job. So I had a really good friend who was running a computer shop. So I was asking me, I said, is that okay if I can actually join you and work for you as a sales? And by the way, I never thought I have a skill in sales. Remember, I was working for a government. I was a German interpreter. And, when the time changes, you really found a new skill in myself. I said, I'm kind of like a good salesperson. Is there any chance I come and work for you in your computer shop? So you're all from Sydney, right? Some of you might remember there was a little computer shop in Surrey Hills called Wentworth Avenue. It's called Aroma Computers. So I went to this gentleman. I said, look, So I couldn't find a job. Can I work for you? And selling your computer accessories like floppy disks and, you know, copy holders and keyboards and mouse. He said, yeah, you come and work for me. And I worked for him from Monday to Friday. On the weekends, I took some of the products from the shop and I started working in the Paddy's market and selling in the market, have some, you know, like positive like cash. And from that computer shop and from the weekends work in the Paddy's market, we grow a computer business to an international company. You couldn't believe it. That was in 1994, and I have no idea what computer is all about, right? I sold the computer to the people who actually knew about the computers, and so the weekends you know, my sales are from like a couple of thousand to a couple like tens of thousands, and because we have a really positive cash, and I slowly become asking for distributors for people like Kodak. Have you heard about Kodak, the brand, Annie?
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have, right? So I couldn't speak English. I get my friends to call Kodak. I said, Kodak, I want to be your distributor. They said, you know, how can you be a distributor? You know, those days you have the recordable CDRs. Remember that? Those days? Maybe you guys are too young. But anyway, so we had the recordable CDRs, and I took some of the, you know, the pieces of recordable CDRs and sitting on the weekend markets. And at the same time, I developed a product for ourselves. It's called the Laser. So Laser become like a household name. On the Laser brand, we have got, you know, probably 200 products today, right? So weekends at the Paddy's market, weekdays at the, you know, computer shops, but I have a vision. I will never be working in the market for the rest of my life. Again, how can I, you know, use that opportunity to have a positive cash flow to grow a business and grow actually a brand for ourselves? I'm very much brand orientated. So I thought, you know, I'm a Chinese. I speak Chinese. I could be better than the rest of people in the IT business, right? I start going back to China to take a lot of products and repackaged and branded under Laser brand. And by using my distributorship with the Kodak, TDKs, and the rest, and to open the doors to people like Harvey Norman's, Big W's. So today, Laser brand is, you know, like one of the most popular brands, a household name in all these department stores. So yeah, that's how I started with a little the recordable CDs, floppy disks, and reach out to manufacturers and take the brand under my products under my name and become an international company today. Does it make sense? Yeah, it's a long time ago. It's like 20,000 years ago, right? So the brand became really, really popular.
And what did you learn from your first foray into entrepreneurship?
I think it's more like a mindset, you know. So, you know, I came to Australia with a really hardship, right? With the no English, and you know, it's really hard to have that kind of vision. But I think I just take the opportunities. So I take opportunities at a time. So that we just talked to a gentleman before, said now you have a real estate, you've been so successful. And I had a computer shop, and from the corner shop to a Paddy's market. So I always have a vision of whatever I do now, I think tomorrow is going to be better. Okay, so if I have a Paddy's market stores, how can I grow that business to enterprises? So just back to the Laser times, which is 1980s, 1990s. And I always want to build a team, build a strategy behind the company. So if you Google laserco.com.au, so now we have like over 200 products, and the market is just so big for that particular brand. And yeah, entrepreneurship, I think, is probably in my blood. Okay, I'm always looking forward to something bigger and better. Even though I keep my feet on the ground now, to work my guts out 7 days a week, right? So that's I think it's probably in me. It's always striving, always keep moving, and always keep my feet on the ground, and yeah, it could just keep going.
And why did you pivot into real estate?
So, real estate is a really funny story. Maybe people just don't believe it. So I built, I worked from 1992 to about 2007. So the Laser Corporation become from a corner store to a multinational company. So at the time, I think it's a time for me probably to let go. If you look at my background, I never really studied. I'm more like a street smart type of person, but I never really studied how to manage the business. But one thing I manage is that I have a good people around me. So in 2007, I hire people I have a professional tiger from Panasonic. So he came and managed my whole laser brand, and I take the laser to a different level. And I actually retired at 2007. For my personal experiences, it's really hard to me to go from the family business to a big corporation, from MYOB to a software called SAP, right? I was completely lost. I thought, you know what, maybe it's time to let go the company into in a good hand. So I got a team of CEOs, CFOs, COOs to look after that business. And time for me to retire. By the time in 2007, so I stepped back from the Laser Corporation, and then my marriage went to a different direction. I was actually myself and a single mother with a child, and I thought, okay, let's just retire. I start just genuinely enjoying my life. So in 2009, I met my husband now. He has a passion in real estate. I thought, oh, okay, Jack, I have a passion in real estate, and I really know how to sell. I thought, okay, let's get into real estate. So at the end of 2009, we reached the company, but we really didn't do much, right? So one thing is I look at myself, I'm a Chinese, I speak the language. So the second company I built has to build on what I'm really good at. So I look at myself in the Chinese eyes, speak a bit broken English, but I really understand what the Chinese really need and new migrants really need. They probably need somebody to hold their hand when they come to this country. Okay, took their hand to find the property, helping them to find the children to find a school, and maybe help them to build a business because I've already done one. I thought, okay, my new business called Black Diamonds will build more like a focus on service rather than a transaction. Normally real estate is a transactional business, right? So you sell one house and move on to another. And that's why I call my company called Black Diamonds Property Concierge. So concierge means really helping people to settle in Australia. So that's where the idea comes from. But I have no idea about the real estate. I said, if I can sell, remember I used to sell a bit of, I think anywhere in insurance, right? So I used to sell insurance at my, struggling times. I sell cosmetic, I sell IT product, which I have no idea about the ITs. So I can sell real estate. How hard is that? And and my husband is giving me my really helping hand, right? So none of us know anything about the real estate. But I said, if I set my company based on a really good foundation of helping people, I think real estate probably the easiest thing to sell. So that's where the real estate business comes from, right? And then we started from 2009. So the first property I sold since the company started is like $13.5 million. I said, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So that's really good. But I branded the Black Diamonds Property Concierge as a bridge between East and West. And also we'll focus on luxury properties. Okay, I branded myself as a luxury real estate agent, and the Black Diamonds is like a real estate agency. So that's how we started.
And you mentioned earlier about hardships. What are the biggest challenges you faced during your journey to achieving your success, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Okay, so I'm a really positive person. Okay, you can see me like everything is, oh my God, it's glamorous, it's great, it's fantastic. But the hardship, I think, is like it's really hard to actually. Let's talk about real estate, right? So it's really hard to go to a very male-dominated industry. So it's hard, you know, you have to, number one, some of the agents been in the market for like 30, 40 years, right? We're more like newcomers. So we have a little bit at the beginning, it's lack of knowledge of real estate. And the second is how you actually can face the daily challenges of dealing with, you know, very difficult buyers and difficult vendors, and the most important, difficult agents. So yeah, they're always behind your back, right? So, but what is my biggest selling point? How can I stand out more than everybody else? That's my biggest challenge. Is really equip myself with the knowledge, really position myself when I go to a vendor's meetings. So what is the difference? How can I do better than others? So number one is, of course, is hard work. Remember, I'm already like, now I'm 58 years old, right? So I started at the age of 57, 58. So obviously I have more time because my child has grown up. So I can commit my time to look after my vendors. That's one of the selling points. Secondly, I'm a Chinese and I speak Chinese better than quite a lot of people. I speak quite well. Language is one become my weapon, my skill, my asset. But again, it's not just a language, it's how I understand when the people come to this country, what challenges they might be facing. I can provide a service not just to the vendors, and also to my buyers, not make me stand out, you know, amongst all the other agents. The biggest challenge is the skill, is the people I know, how can they, why they want to list with me. And again, the challenge is a woman amongst most men. So that was my biggest challenge.
And how did you realize that your background is an asset?
Oh, okay. So I think I have to be a bit smart, right? When I first come to Australia, my background become my weakness because of, you know, like really lack of understanding of the culture, lack of understanding, you know, skill of speaking perfect English. So all of this, right? So when I start the second business, I have to look at my advantages. Okay, how can I be better? How can I be, you know, like why people want to talk to me? Number one, my Chinese eyes. So, you know, my understanding of the cultural background of, you know, where the wealthy Chinese come. So what I've been really looking for. Okay, so yeah, suddenly I think, you know, it's like a personal branding, right? So you will have to look at myself, what I have. When I built Black Diamonds, you know, property concierge, I really think about, I want to make sure there's no competition. Okay, so there's a competition everywhere, but there's no competition. Number one, I don't compete. I just want to be the best version of myself. And, you know, so language become my, you know, my face, my understanding of Australian culture. So which I can help the Chinese people to understand, the newcomer to understand. So they will trust me, not just as a real estate agent, they will trust me as a Chinese helper to help them to understand Australian culture, business landscape, and the rest, and the children's schools, become their trusted advisor. Okay, that's why my Chinese background become my biggest asset.
And what do you think sets you apart from others in the industry?
I think is number one is hardworking, because we're Chinese, right? So we just working so hard. Even today, I work still. So it doesn't matter how successful we are. I think work become my passion. I turn to something to my passion that makes my life a bit easier. So hard work, really, really hardworking. I become like, you know, people. Then they have other different commitments. So my commitment is about work. So I let my vendors or buyers know, and that if they list a property with me, I will be 100% committed. And also because of my understanding of, so if I list a property, I don't really have to just sell to Chinese, right? I speak English. So 50% of my buyers are actually local Australian buyers. And the 50% will be the Chinese, and 100% of Chinese, if I want to buy property, I want to make sure they understand I'm here, unless I have nothing to sell. I'm here to help them. So that's become my strongest point, and you know, that's why I stand up really well in the community, in this industry.
And what advice do you have for young professionals who are looking to follow in your footsteps?
Oh, that's very. I think all of you are probably much better than me. And just to understand that I'm more like a street smart person. I really make my way, nothing else but just hardworking and a little bit street smart. A bit of like EQ and plus a little bit of IQ. I think your guys are really, really smart, and I want to praise you. I wish I could study a bit more. And so for I think just find something you are passionate about. So these days, I think for what people say, Monica, you look at your, I work 7 days a week and I have 3 or 2 events like every night, and because networking is part of my thing, right? So I have to get myself out there to know people. So I'm already only about 10 years in the industry. How can I be best among others? Like what you said, I have to go out there and networking. And so that's why I have to make myself be loving my job. So if you found something you're passionate about, and I think make your life much easier. That's the number one advice, right? Again, don't be afraid to fail. So you look at me, right? So if you look at what I have done when I talk about my past, and then I start washing the dishes and babysit and selling cosmetic and insurance. So if I worry, but I've never been in sales, by the way, right? So if I worry about fail, if I'm afraid about fail, I probably would never leave China. So I was very comfortable back then. So don't afraid to fail. And also, and one thing is like, you really have to surround yourself with good people. And I think one of the things I've been talking with my husband, 10 years in our career, what is the biggest gain? The biggest gain for us is not about how many property we have sold. Is the trust we build within our community. So any of your Chinese, right? So if you build, like a trust in your community, especially your profession is a real estate, it's like a car sales, right? It's really difficult, but we build that trust. People have respect us. It's not how many properties sold, is actually the influence we have in our community of giving back and all the charities and the rest, right? So surround yourself with really good people and build your personal brand and whatever you want, you're representing for. For me, it's about successful business, business leader, philanthropist, and so everything is positive. And actually, I changed a lot of ideas for my community thinking about the real estate agent, right? So I'm not just a real estate agent. Actually, I'm a business leader, I'm a giver, and I'm a serious influencer in my community. So surround yourself with good people and also trust your instinct. Sometimes, when I come to Australia, I never thought I'd probably, I trust my instincts. I mean, if I to become a salesperson, I actually, maybe I can be. And I did, and I do really, really well. And also be open-minded. I think before everybody, come to join our chat. So I talked something to you about like a live stream. Like now we're talking, literally I'm talking to nobody. I'm talking just look at you, right? And which is really difficult. I mean, but open-minded to learn the new things, Look at me, I'm 58 years old. I'm still talking to you through the Zoom, right? So I still do my live stream to 29,000 people. I don't even know who they are. They just got open-minded, learn the new skills. So I'm massively in social media. Social media really helped me to build my business and build my name out there. That's how you contact me, right? So be open-minded to learn the new things. And last about, just be honest. Just be honest to yourself and just be kind. I think be kindness of something. Sometimes, we cannot manage, we cannot control what's happening out there. So one thing I'm really, always looking to myself, is there anything I can control within? Okay, I can control, be honest and be kind and just at least be honest to ourselves. And don't take yourself too serious. Once you're successful, and one thing I want to make sure is I always keep my feet on the ground. This, couple of advice. Yeah, I hope it's helpful.
I'm open to the audience for questions. So if anyone has any questions for Monica, then please feel free to type it on in the chat box. The first question we have is from Washington. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Monica. Thank you for being here with us today. It's really nice to have you. I appreciate your time. You have a wonderful story that is very inspiring in many ways. And I think you are those kind of rare people who realize the opportunities when everybody else was just missed that out. So that's really interesting character of you. But my question is, having the benefit of hindsight, right? When you're doing all your personal branding creation, could you share with us some of the hit and misses, some of lesson lives that you had?
When I do my personal brand, the hit and misses, I think you build a brand and get out there is somehow it's dangerous. Okay, or it's some because you oppose yourself to something you have all over you have the majority of time you look at the positive comments, you people really like yourself, really oh my God, you're inspiring, you're really helpful, but then you got a lot of people have completely different things, so you just have to be really strong. So one thing I decided to go to the medias, and I really think I represent a generation. I represent a community. And again, one thing I can control with him is that everything I get out there is try to be very positive, and have a really good value. So my value, people will be, I think is, my value is people will think, oh my God, you're successful, look at these fancy parties and stuff, But my value is if I can do good for something, my best thing is that I whatever people think, I don't really, I just ignore the negative side. Sometimes I don't even look at it. But if my value system is right, my goal in life is not wrong, and I'm not afraid of anything. Okay, you have to be really strong. But building a personal brand is, I believe in a triangle, right, in life. So what you want to achieve. What I want to achieve is I want to be so successful in business, making so much money, so I can give more. Okay, so if I give more, so my purpose is if I could, because I'm such a big influencer in my community, so hopefully I can lead up to the others to give as well. So but for that reason, if I have something I do wrong or some of the negative comments, what can I do? I just ignore it. I don't bother.
You can
Does
just
it answer your question?
Control, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You can just do what you can control, right?
Yeah, I just control myself, and I cannot control other people's comments, minds, or whatever that is. And so, you just keep going. You just have to be so focused. I don't get distracted by anything negative, or don't distract by your own failure. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes I lose. So lose if I lose, I will say, oh, what I learned from that mistake. So I'm just super positive, right? So that's what I can control is my positivity.
It's very good. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking the question.
So next question is from Ryder that she would like me to help her ask on her behalf. So Ryder's question is, what was something you had to unlearn or take out of your character to build the brand you wanted to create for yourself?
I think I'm very positive, right? So I'm very fortunate. So I just look back, I don't really think I built something, because again, for the first business, it's really difficult, right? So there's not really a personal brand, it's just a brand, right? I have to know new things about IT and the rest. For the second business, I want to make sure everything I build is what I believe in. Okay, I really don't have to do something I'm not comfortable. Or I'm not comfortable talking to people on the big stage. But you know what? I got invited to speak in Iraq in 2016 for 4,500 people. I said, oh my God, are you serious? I don't even speak English. So one thing, I learned, so the name is Rada, right? Rada? Yeah. Just take the challenge, show your weakness. So what I did is I show my vulnerability, right? My vulnerability become actually my strength. When I talk on the stage, I said, look, I speak a broken English, and somehow call that Chinglish, right? So I give away my weakness for people to actually forgive me if I make a mistake. Instead of like I'm hiding, I'm so scared, I don't want to do it, right? So if there's an opportunity, I always take it and overcome my weakness, and just get out there, and I actually show people my weakness. People think, oh my God, how can you tell people you are like a 58 years old? I think at 58 years have become my strength. So the people at 50 years old, you should look at me. We should be ashamed, like how old we are, or how broken English I spoke. So I hope that answered the question. Just get out there, take the challenge, and show your vulnerability if you are a woman. Okay, if you're a woman, just show, people will forgive you, people will actually love you, because we're strong. Strong doesn't have to be outside. Strong just being inside. And I love to show my weakness. And for that reason, I think I have got a lot of people appreciate that, and they feel I'm actually authentic. Okay, so I hope that answered the question.
And next question is from. Firstly, Vida said, "Thank you so much, Monica."
Oh, so thank you for asking the question.
The next question is from Sean. If you'd like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Sure. Hi, Monica. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Sean.
I actually wanted to ask you, how did you get your first clients for Black Diamond, and how were you able to build trust in the first sort of your few clients, and for them to trust you?
That's a really good question. Okay, this is the story. Remember I mentioned at end of 2009. So me and my husband decided this real estate, concierge, right? I didn't even know how to spell it, by the way. But anyway, so now I do. So when you start something, I think you have to get out there. So my things, I have to let everybody know now I'm a real estate agent. So on the one dinner table, there's a lady called Julie, right? I said, oh, Julie, you know what? So I just got my license. Now I'm a real estate agent. I said, oh, that's great. I said, do you know anybody that want to sell their house or they want to buy something? I said, listen, Monica, I know somebody yesterday, Mr. Chen. This is a true story. Okay, so Mr. Chen want to buy a house. I said, okay, give me the number. So I got Mr. Chen's number. And I called Mr. Chen. I said, Mr. Chen, my name is Monica. It's my company in Chinese, right? My name is, so I have Black Diamond. Oh, okay. So what have you got? I said, what have I got? I said, what are you looking for? He said, oh, I really want to buy a house, waterfront in Mosman. I said, oh, okay. So when do you want to see it? And that I remember clearly, it was on Wednesday. He said, I want to see it on Friday if it's possible. I said, oh, no problem. Remember taking the challenge? So on Thursday, we start calling all the agents. I didn't have any listing. I call everybody. But somehow, some of the agents are really arrogant. So you speak a broken English, you don't even know what you're talking about, right? So they just don't want to cooperate. So thankfully, we call a company called, I think you call it Richardsonians, in Mosman. At the time they call them, I think they're Richardson Ranch. Right. I call this guy Mark Manor. Mark speaks perfect English. Oh, hello, my name is Mark, right? I said, what do you want? I said, Mark, do you have any real estate waterfront properties I can show Mr. Chen? He said, okay. In real estate, you call something called conjunction. Okay, so Mark very kindly show us 3 or 4 houses waterfront. Guess what? So we sold the first property at the Cremont through the Richardson Ranch, $13.5 million. And I think they charged them a 2% commission. Now we share half of it. I thought, wow, that's a really good business, right? So if you work on 2% out of 13.5 million, I said, wow, that's a good business. That's our first sale. That's I got. So when you build a business, when you start anything, get out there, tell people. So that's the network is just so important. So people never know who Monica is. People never know I'm a real estate agent. Or just get out and tell everybody, you never know where the opportunity is. That's my first sale. It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story.
Mr. Chen actually bought probably about 3 properties. He introduced about five clients to me. 5.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it was very good. And he's still my friend until today.
The power of networks, right?
The power of networking, yes. And don't be afraid to tell.
Yeah, of course. Just a question as well for the... just from a China perspective, how is Australia viewed from a property perspective compared to other luxury markets in, say, US, London, or wherever it may be? How does it compare?
I think in terms of let's talk about pricing, right? So in terms of pricing, so compared to, we're not talking about New York, we're not talking about London, right? So we're talking about New York, Tokyo, we're talking about Shanghai. So in terms of pricing, so luxury properties in Sydney or in Australia still relatively affordable. So we don't want to use cheap, but affordable. So it's very reasonable price. And compared to lifestyle, I think Australia become really popular for wealthy Chinese is because of, it's very close to China. So it's only about 2 or 3 hours time difference. And I think, again, the community here is very welcoming. They feel like, you go to Chinatown, it doesn't matter you are. So all the Aussies can use chopstick. So people say, oh my God, how do you use that? That's normal. So we become the Asia Pacific, they feel really comfortable to live in this kind of environment. Yep, so, real estate is popular. Luxury real estate is even more popular to wealthy Chinese.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And I got hundreds of questions. If no one else wants to ask, or maybe I'm not sure if Ryder has a question now. If she wants to, I'm not sure if she can unmute herself. Annie, do you want to take this one on?
If you want to continue with your question, then I'll just check with her if she has a question or comment.
Yeah, I just want to get your thoughts, Monica, on, I guess, Chinese international students in Australia at the moment. Obviously, COVID has had an impact, but do you have any advice for, I guess, those international students who do want to stay in Australia and, sort of contribute? What suggestions do you have for them? Obviously, take advantage of their language ability. That's number one. Do you have any other suggestions?
I think the international students, will be coming. I think, of course, it becomes, one of the important, economy to, Australia. And at the moment, I think because of the COVID, obviously, it's very unfortunate. Actually, I went to University of Sydney last week to see that they're going to open this amazing museum contributed by Dr. Chow. Yeah, and it's just incredible. But the sad thing is that literally is no one there, right? And I think they're coming, besides of like, a bit of, tensions between the two countries, but they will come. I tell you, because of the location, demographic, and again, the community, the cultures. And, once the borders open, once this, elections is over, Chinese definitely is going to come back. And it's really important for them to come back for the Australian economy. And it's very good for everybody's business, right? So, if you look at working in a city now, it's just so sad. Because I'm working with a lot of like luxury space. Like, I'm working with Gucci's, Valentino's, and all these shops. So it's definitely, without the students here, the business is heavily affected. Yeah, we need the international students.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the question on behalf of Ryder, as she's unable to unmute herself. So the question she has is, I'm sure in your experience, Monica, in networking and getting yourself out there, how did you effectively communicate your intention, as Ryder has had trouble with people not getting her intentions right and have been in situations where she has almost been taken advantage of?
Oh, okay. So I don't know. When I do networking, so if I go out there and just talking to people, so I never really have any intentions. I just genuinely being there, and that people know who I am. I think already maybe number one is that you really have to have just yourself. Maybe just spend some time, have your personal brand. So who are you representing? What is your goal in life? What you want? What is your real message? What do you want to get out there? So I think we'll have to be, I think once you know who you are, what message you want to give to the people surround you, I think maybe people will get it. I think Yeah, I never go out there. So this is me, right? So I never go there for dinners or with a purpose. Okay, I generally just represent myself. And this is me, right? So, but my brand, people know I'm a real estate agent. I never, because I do want to sell your house. Yeah, what do you have? I never do that. So my brand is real estate agent, and people know who I am. I give a card. I don't really want to go there and do business because people are very cautious these days. People, it's just so much networking opportunity. So many people there just try to get something, and I just don't do that. I just look at myself. What message I want to get out there? Who am I? So what am I standing for? What I stand for? And I just go there just to represent myself. I hope that answers your question. I never feel people like taking advantage of me, and that's my. I don't know what advantage people can take of me, right? So I'm just very firm standing as Monica Tu, as a brand myself, as a person, as an individual myself. And, and I never go there for a purpose. I never go there to try to grab a business. So I'm the best in my industry. And if you want, business with me, you can approach me. So that's my approach when I go networking and meeting people.
Hope that answers your question, Ryder. Otherwise, please feel free to type it in the chat box.
Yeah.
The next question.
And I'm happy to have if Rita wants to know a bit, so I'm happy to, have a chat and, call me and, yeah, if I can help out.
The next question is from Gavin. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
I think Gavin is my friend.
He said in the comments he can't chat at the moment, so yeah, maybe ask on behalf of him.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Couldn't see. So his question is, Gavin, he's the buyer's agent that Monica you met yesterday.
Yes.
His question to you is, what advice would you give to someone who just started their own business in an industry that's filled with more experienced buyers agent that have a proven track record?
Patience. Okay, I think Gavin will really need patience because everything is just really difficult. I think to start with, you have to understand, because I met Gavin in person, and why you're better than everybody else. Okay, why you're different and not better. So everybody's perfect. So why you're different from anybody else, and then we'll come back to the personal branding. So people look at the Gavin, to the Monica, and what Gavin and Monica stand for. Right. So for me, it's like I'm here to help people. I'm here to understand their culture and their needs. And so I think my personal brand is so strong and the message is so clear. And you attract the people who actually want to work with you. And we call that like a pull strategy. So of course we're going to push ourselves out there, but we have a pull strategy and people actually approach you. So Gavin, you speak Cantonese and you've been an agent before, so you understand maybe better than other buyers agent because not everybody have your experience in selling. And so that I think as a personal branding thing is really important. So you have to find a niche. So we talk about niche market. You have to find a niche. Why you can do it, anybody else can do. So then you will stand out among the others. So I can help you to identify a couple of your niche. Next time we meet, Gavin, definitely you have to find your niche and you have to, have your personal message, your personal brand, and then you're definitely better than everybody else. You're tall, you're handsome, remember? So you're a personal trainer, I remember all this. And you're Chinese, you can speak Cantonese, which not everybody can. And that's all your strength. To make you better than everybody else. But again, be patient and be persistent, right? Everything takes time.
So Gavin made a comment saying, good memory, yeah. The next question we have is from Sabrina. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And you've talked about a lot of the successful stories you had, but I'm just interested to know also if you've had any failures or made any mistakes along the journey, and what was your biggest lesson learned?
Okay, I made a lot of mistakes, you know, in terms of like, you know, building my career and in the personal life. Yeah, of course we do, right? We always do. And I think the biggest mistake, you know, even my biggest mistake I made, and it becomes my, you know, my lesson. So I share something with you, and this is my real estate, right? So I remember I started my business in 2009. I've got no understanding or no knowledge in my industry, which is in real estate. So I hire people because, you know, like I see myself like a business leader. So as a business leader, you want to build a business, and to build a business, you cannot just rely on yourself. So you have to build a team. You have to empower your team. That hopefully one day you will work on the business, not in the business. You agree with me? And so I hired somebody in 2014. So I wouldn't know what that is. So it is a young agent from like you know, Northern Beaches. And they come to my business because he's been in the business longer than me, right? Maybe 5 or 6 years, you know, I'm new. So my thing is like, I make this person like an expert because, you know, he's longer in the business, longer in the business than me. And every time we go out there to work with a vendor, so I put him always in the front. I say, okay, you know, he's amazing, he's fantastic, and, you know, so we're a good team. And my vision is that if he can actually, you know, took over the charge of selling the property, I can be, you know, even I'm the owner of the business, I can actually somehow behind him to empower him in the front. But unfortunately, in this industry, because, you know, he's a bit less, you know, from a little bit different family background, less educated, and he somehow think he's better than me and the rest of my team, and he took my buyer. While I was back in China, he took my buyer, my vendor. He just, you know, step my back and steal my business. And that really hurts, right? But what I learned from that is, like, you know, again, maybe in your real estate is a little bit different than other business, right? So I really not just a manager myself or CEO or myself. I really have to get out there to be a real estate agent myself. Remember, there's a big difference between a real estate agent and a business leader. Yeah. So now in this industry, from that lesson I learned, I really can't trust 20 years old to giving them like $50 million listing. I have to get out there myself to look after my vendor and my buyers. So that's the biggest lesson I learned from the real estate. I hope that makes sense, but I didn't blame anybody. I didn't blame, you know, say, oh, he actually stole from me and he's a bad person. I think it's just the nature of this business, because we can open the doors for so many people. And one thing I believe is you are only as good as the company you keep. So this person, you know, of course, left Black Diamonds and is no longer in the business. People don't list the property with a particular person because of himself. Is the company you work for, the target market you are in. So I learned a big lesson. Okay, and now besides of business leaders, I still have a business owner. I have to be a real estate agent myself. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. So I just want to ask, so your company now, then you have like employees and other sales people working for you, right? Yeah. So then are you worried some of them might still take away your clients and similar things might happen, and how do you prevent that?
I think I'm not worried that you take, you know, if they are capable of taking over the clients and stuff, I'm okay. So what we do is like, no, my team now, so number one thing, before I'm focused on the skill set. Okay, so when I employ people, I focus on skill set, but I didn't focus on a person, like a personalities, family backgrounds, and integrity. I think integrity is everything. So when you hire the people, so you have to know, so you will take the risk of working with them as a team. Okay, I always give, so people join me, I always give 100%. If they somehow betray me and stuff, that's okay, right? So it's not my problem. So it's okay, but I will continue to strive my business based on integrity rather than skill set. Skill set you can learn, but integrity is probably come from your family, from your upbringing, and from the people themselves. So that's my focus. I shift my focus in terms of the HRs, right? The recruitment.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid. If something similar happen again, so I'm not afraid. So now I can risk them myself, you know what I mean?
Yes, thank you. Thanks very much for sharing.
No worries.
A few more questions that we have come through. Next one is from Judy. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Monica. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well. Lovely to meet you. So my question is just to do with your business, whether you only do selling properties or also rental management as well?
Yeah, we do actually. I think my business, like, besides of like rentals and selling real estate, so we see ourselves like a lifestyle offering. Okay, so we offer luxury or a bespoke lifestyle to new migrants or the rest. So we sell and then we lease, and then also we offering them some of the arts, travelings and stuff like that. So by doing that, we get all our people. So we have a raving fans. We have something called Club Diamonds. So this Club Diamonds members are past vendors, buyers, and so we get them together. If you haven't watched my video, you can go to my Instagram or website. You can see the events we put together. The point is that getting people together to enjoy a life in Australia. So we're more like a lifestyle offering, but the rental is definitely part of our business.
Okay, I was just interested to learn because I know that you're very successful, and I see a lot of like videos, in the media of what you put together. Have you ever started any part of your on the rental side by acquiring like other rental books?
Yeah, this is one thing. Yeah, that's a really, really good question, because my vision of my Black Diamonds is very different from my husband. So my husband always want to buy the rent roll, right, and to grow. But my thing is like, because I don't know, I just don't like to buy. I want to grow. So yeah, maybe in the future, but not at the moment. So now I slowly grow my rent roll. I really enjoy that journey, but then it's come back to the, how good is the property manager. So if my daughter just joined me as a property manager. She finished the private education, Bond University. I said, oh my God, I want to join you for Black Diamonds. And she loves property management. So if she can take that part, really in control, in charge, and maybe I will think about buying a rent roll, but at the moment, I'm really happy for what I have.
Okay, just building your own sort of networks and like database.
Yes. So because I think the process of the because we're selling like extremely well, so we just we did a few over 100 million since like April, so that's really good. But again, in the property management, whatever comes, we just look after them. So we have a very small rent roll, but we're really focused on looking after our vendors, because the majority of vendors are overseas. So there's so much work, so much, it's so much work. By the way, I think we're doing a good job. Until we're ready, and we're back.
Oh, okay. Do you only focus on one location in that regards, or do you do all over Sydney?
And so we do all over Sydney. So, but our focus is eastern suburbs. So because that's where we're based on, my house, that's where we live. So eastern suburbs, but we just, this is a really good one. So we sold about 11 properties. I'll give you a couple of examples. This is really exciting, actually really inspiring. Right? So we sold a property in Blakehurst. Which area you are from? So, okay, so we said the records of Blakehurst, 11 almost $11 million. And I will set another one in Warrawee, Upper North Shore, for $15 million. So we set, record everywhere. So we took a lot of like iconic, really hard to sell properties. And I love those challenges, right? So for 11 properties, I think 10 of them are records since April. So that's really rewarding.
Sure. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. No,
thank you so much.
Welcome.
So I know we're over time. If Monica, you can answer one last question that we have from Carla. Carla, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Monica. How are you?
Hi, Carla. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I'm still quite young and I'm still like on my journey and like finding, what I want to do and whatnot. But I just want to know what your advice is for when you were young, like what you used to, work towards and your, what you used to focus about on how you were going to become successful.
Yeah, I think, Carla, when I was young, this is like, when I was young, I just grab any opportunity what comes to me. So if you have a goal, so if, for example, if you're an artist, right? So you might pursue a career in that field. So if you're, if you really love sales, you might find a sales job. If I do not know anything, so when I was young, I don't know how old you are. So I went to university at the age of 15. So when I finished university at the age of 19, I have no idea. So whatever comes to my way, I just grab it and then make sure I do well. So I don't know, I never thought, I never thought my whole family are school teachers. I never thought I would be so good in sales. But when sales opportunity come to me, I want to do the best I can. So I don't know your circumstances, but whatever, just grab one thing to start with.
Yeah.
And then you will figure it out. So if you do, like, everybody say, if you're a diamond, you always shine. Or if you're gold, you always shine. Or if you're a diamond, you do this thing, so well, and you will be discovered in the future. So just do anything, one thing only, and the focus and make sure you do well.
Yeah.
And, everything will comes, into places.
Yeah. So just say yes to everything, every opportunity.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I maybe say if you have the choices, okay, so I think your young children are very lucky. You have choices. Maybe you found something you're passionate about. So we're talking about passion, something you think, I can do better. If you have 5 things in front of you, you pick up one thing you think most likely you'll do better, and most likely you're more passionate about. Because if you have a passion, your life is going to be easier, right? Yeah. So, so pick up one thing, not everything. I'm talking about one thing. So compared to all the choices you have, pick up one thing and focus. So commit for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and see how it goes. And I promise you will reward in the future, whatever you pick up and focus on.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that concludes tonight's webinar. Thank you so much, Monica, for taking the time to be with us here tonight and sharing your wisdom and insights with us. Thank you to the PDF team for making this entire webinar possible. And thank you to everyone for joining us here tonight and engaging in the discussion. We hope you enjoyed this session. You should see a poll that will pop up on your screen shortly. If you can please fill it out, as this will help us better understand the sort of content that you as the audience would like to see from us. If you enjoyed this session, we have more webinars coming up. Our next session will be on Thursday, the 5th of November at 7 p.m. with senior journalist Antoinette Latoupe. She'll be speaking about how she found career success in the most unconventional career paths, despite never fitting into any boxes. A link to the registration page will be provided in the chat box. We also have some amazing podcasts and videos that you can listen to and watch. So please follow us on all our social media pages and subscribe to the newsletter via our website to be updated on everything. Again, thank you so much to everyone for joining us here tonight, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Monica. See you guys later.
You.
Have a good night.
Yeah.